So welcome back once again to Akya's classes. In today's video, we'll dive into the edit distance algorithm, also known as the Levenstein distance. It is used to measure the difference between two strings by counting the minimum numbers of operations that you need to transform one string into another. So basically, how many transformation processes you have to go through to convert string 1 into string 2. Like exactly, if I have an input Sunday, then how many operations do I need to convert it into Saturday, or vice versa? And the answer to this probably will be 3, I guess. That's what at least I think, but we're gonna perform with Saturday only. So let's just move on to the definition, and then we'll move on to the advantage, disadvantage, and then the pseudocode, and at the end the coding part. So if you want to skip it, you can skip it. You can basically go on to the comment section, no, the description, where you have the timestamps for every single thing. So you can just go through, jump around the video. So let's just talk about the definition. So edit distance algorithm. The edit distance is a minimum number of operations that you have to perform, right, required to transform one string into another. So which basically includes of insert, delete, or maybe substitute, or anything like that. So the dynamic programming's approach optimizes this calculator by breaking the problem down into smaller sub problems. So you have to pick the big problem, divide them into sub problems, and that's how you create a perfect process. Interesting. So now let's just move on to the advantage, disadvantage, and then the pseudocode, and then the coding part. Alright, here we'll go through the step-by-step process. So the step 1 is create a 2D table where one string is represented by row and the other is by column. Then you have the step 2. The step 2 is pretty simple. Initialize the first row and column with a number of insertions or deletions required to convert one string into the other. Then you have the step 3, which is for each cell calculate the minimum of 3 possible operations: insertion, deletion, and the substitution. And then there is step 4, the value of bottom right corner of the table will be the minimum edit distance between two strings. So that's it. That's the step-by-step process of it. Now we'll take a look at the advantages and disadvantages. Right? So let's just do that real quick. Alright, so the advantages are pretty simple, widely applicable and efficient for short strings. So widely applicable. How is it even widely applicable? It is widely used in spell checkers, maybe DNA sequence analysis, and also natural language processing for comparing strings. So you can use edit distance algorithm in a very broader manner for big projects. Then you have the efficient for short strings. The dynamic programming approaches computes the distance effectively for small to medium sized strings. So you have particularly advantages over this stuff. But before considering this one of the best algorithms, let's just look at the disadvantages of it. Now let's move on to the disadvantages of it. So disadvantages are pretty simple. High time complexity for large strings. The time complexity is 0 into n into m, where the n and m are the length of those two strings, which can be slow for very large strings. Then there is the memory usage. It requires a 2D table to store intermediate results, which can increase your space complexity. So basically these are some disadvantages of using this particular algorithm, but the advantages levels out. So basically you will at least have an interesting algorithm at the end of this. Alright, so let's just take a quick look at the pseudocode. You can just pause the video right now and can look at how does it even look. So the pseudocode is pretty simple. Functions, initializations for each character of character match copy previous, then this, and then read the value. So right, it's simple. Alright, we are on to our coding screen. So let's just create a file and then start our code. First we'll create a function as we always do, and then we'll use two variables to have the length of x and y, because we need the length of x and y before checking them, right, because we need for loops. So n will be assigned as y. Alright, so now this makes sense. Now just create a 2D table to store the edit distances, right? Then once you're done with that, we'll initialize the table. So for that we need a two for loops, I think, for our function. Okay, and then you just simply say that if the first string is empty, the only option is to insert all the characters of second string. That's it, simple as that. If first string is empty, then give it all to the second one. That's it. Okay, so the elif part is also done. So if the second string is empty, the only option that is to remove all the characters from the first string. And then there is if last characters are same, no need for any operations. Okay. Yep, seems pretty simple. So in the else part, we'll just see that if the characters are different, consider all possibilities. Insert, update, substitute, not delete. No, insert, delete and substitute, not update. Insert, delete and substitute. Alright. So it's perfectly done, and we're just gonna mention up here and call this. Real quick, we're gonna do that. Okay, so we'll now use the examples, like the test algorithms, test variables and test stuff. So we basically have created an variable x where we'll have Sunday, and the y will have Saturday, right? So it is going to just calculate the distance between x to y. For example, in distance between Sunday and Saturday is 3. That means it takes 3 operations, one insertion, deletion and substitution, to transform one string to the other one, right? Alright, so now you'll be able to see the answer. See? Perfect. So that's it for today. A simple explained video on edit distance algorithm. So it is really essential tool for string comparisons and has various applications in spell checkings, machine learning and more. So if you found this tutorial helpful, hit the like button. If you didn't, then hit the dislike button and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next one. Stay tuned with Akash Classes.